In the year 2157, humanity had spread across the solar system, establishing thriving colonies on Mars and several moons of Jupiter. Earth remained the crown jewel of human civilization, protected by the most advanced defense system ever created, the Guardian Network. This vast array of satellites, automated stations, and energy weapons formed an impenetrable shield around humanity's homeworld. Captain Tom Miller stood at the command center of Earth Defense Station Alpha, his weathered face reflecting the soft blue glow of holographic displays. The station's massive windows offered a breathtaking view of Earth below, peaceful and serene against the backdrop of endless stars. But today, that peace was about to be shattered. "Sir, we're detecting multiple anomalies at the edge of the solar system," reported Lisa Brown, the station's sensor chief. Her fingers danced across the control panel as she analyzed the incoming data. "Energy signatures match nothing in our database." Miller's jaw tightened. This wasn't the first time unknown vessels had entered their solar system. Over the past decade, various alien species had attempted to establish contact with Earth, but their intentions were far from peaceful. Each encounter had ended with attempted invasions, leading to the creation of the Guardian Network. "How many ships?" Miller asked, his voice steady despite the growing tension. "Over 300 vessels, sir. They're arranged in attack formation." Lisa's voice remained professional, but her hands trembled slightly. "Size estimates suggest their flagship is roughly the size of Manhattan." Miller activated the Global Command Channel. Representatives from every major Earth nation appeared on the surrounding screens, their faces grave. They had all been through this before. They knew the drill. "Ladies and gentlemen," Miller addressed the council, "we have another potential invasion force approaching. Request permission to issue the standard warning." The council's response was unanimous. Earth had learned from its past mistakes. No more attempts at diplomatic solutions with species that came armed for war. No more casualties from trying to be peaceful when the other side clearly wasn't. Miller nodded to his communications officer, who activated the universal translator. The message they were about to send had been carefully crafted by Earth's best linguists and psychologists, designed to be understood by any spacefaring civilization. The warning boomed across space in multiple frequencies and formats. "This is Earth Defense Command. You have entered restricted space with a military fleet. This system is under the protection of the Guardian Network. Our defensive capabilities exceed anything you have encountered before. We have survived and defeated 17 attempted invasions. Each aggressor's fleet was completely destroyed. This is your only warning. Leave immediately or be eliminated. You have 30 minutes to begin retreat. This warning will not be repeated." The message was accompanied by detailed technical specifications of Earth's defensive capabilities, along with video footage of previous invasion attempts and their spectacular failures. It was a calculated move, part warning, part psychological warfare. Now they would wait. Some species retreated immediately upon receiving the warning. Others needed a demonstration. But in the end, they all learned the same lesson: Earth was no longer an easy target. Miller watched the massive alien fleet on his display, wondering which choice they would make. The next 30 minutes would determine whether this would be another peaceful day at the station, or whether the Guardian Network would add another victory to its perfect record. The countdown began. 25 minutes had passed since Earth's warning was transmitted. Captain Miller paced the command center, his boots making soft sounds against the polished floor. The alien fleet hadn't moved an inch, remaining in their aggressive formation. 5 minutes remaining, sir, Lisa announced, her eyes fixed on the countdown display. The entire station crew worked in tense silence, their movements precise and practiced. Suddenly, the main screen flared to life. An alien transmission was coming through. The being that appeared on screen was tall and reptilian, with metallic scales that seemed to shimmer under the lights of their ship. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural purple light. The universal translator processed its words. Your warnings are meaningless. We are the Dominion, conquerors of 1,000 worlds. Your defenses, impressive as you claim them to be, are nothing compared to our might. Surrender now, and we may spare your major cities. Miller didn't even bother responding. He'd heard similar speeches before. Instead, he ordered, show me their fleet movements. Sir, they're launching fighters, Lisa reported. Detecting energy buildup in their main weapons. They're targeting multiple population centers on Earth. The alien commander continued its speech, unaware that no one was listening. Your species' time has come to an end. Accept your place beneath dash. Time's up, Miller interrupted, cutting off the transmission. He opened the command channel to the Guardian Network's primary control. They've made their choice. Execute Defense Pattern Delta. What happened next was both beautiful and terrifying. The Guardian Network activated in perfect synchronization. Thousands of satellites shifted position, their energy cores humming to life. The alien fleet, still confident in their superior numbers, launched their first wave of attacks. They never stood a chance. The network's first response was to create a dimensional barrier, a technology reverse-engineered from the third invasion attempt. Every missile, energy beam, and projectile fired by the alien fleet simply vanished into pocket dimensions, emerging in empty space far from Earth. Enemy weapons totally nullified, reported James Tucker from the weapons station. Initiating countermeasures. The Guardian Network's second phase began. Hundreds of microportals opened throughout the alien fleet. These weren't the crude weapons of past generations. Each portal was precisely calculated, appearing inside enemy ships at specific structural points. Special quantum charges passed through these portals, designed to react with any known form of spacecraft material. Upon contact, they didn't explode, they simply changed the fundamental properties of the ship's hulls for a fraction of a second. That was all it took. The massive alien vessels began to fall apart, their supposedly indestructible armor transforming into particles no more substantial than dust. Escape pods launched frantically, but they too encountered the same fate. The alien commander's face appeared one last time on the screen, horror replacing its previous arrogance. What is this? How the transmission cut off as its flagship disintegrated. In exactly 37 seconds, the entire invasion fleet had been reduced to a slowly expanding cloud of glittering particles that would eventually be collected by automated cleanup drones. All threats neutralized, Lisa confirmed, her voice steady. No casualties on our side. No damage to any Earth installations or the Guardian Network. Miller nodded, already starting his after-action report. Send the usual data package to the science division. They'll want to analyze any new technologies the aliens might have been using. As the crew began their standard post-engagement procedures, Miller looked out at the peaceful Earth below. Millions of people down there would go about their day, never knowing how close another invasion had come, or how decisively it had been stopped. Sir, Lisa called out, her voice carrying a note of concern. We're detecting more anomalies. Different signatures this time. Much larger fleet. Miller allowed himself a small smile. Looks like word hasn't spread to everyone yet. Alright, people, let's do this again. Standard warning protocol. The Guardian Network hummed quietly, ready to defend humanity once more. The new fleet emerging from hyperspace was unlike anything Earth's defense forces had ever encountered. Instead of arriving in a standard military formation, the ships appeared in a complex three-dimensional pattern that seemed to ripple through space itself. Count is still climbing, Lisa reported, her fingers flying over the control panel. 500, 700, over 1,000 ships now, sir. But something's different about these readings. Miller studied the tactical display, noting the unusual energy signatures. These ships weren't charging weapons or raising shields. Instead, they were generating some kind of interconnected energy field that linked their entire fleet together. Incoming transmission, James announced. Multiple channels, multiple formats. The main screen split into 4 sections, each showing a different alien species. Unlike the reptilian Dominion commanders, these beings were remarkably diverse. One appeared to be made of crystalline structures, another was clearly aquatic, the third seemed to be pure energy, and the fourth was surprisingly human-like. The human-like alien spoke first, its voice translated clearly, "Earth Defense Command, I am Admiral Ray of the Galactic Alliance. We've been observing your encounters with various hostile species." Before Miller could respond, the crystalline being continued, its words forming through pulses of light, "Your Guardian Network's efficiency in defending against aggressors has impressed our council. What your species has achieved in mere decades took others centuries." The aquatic being's words came through in waves of sound. "We have come not to test your defenses, but to extend an invitation. The galaxy is changing, and your innovations in defensive technology could help protect countless peaceful civilizations." The energy being pulsed as it spoke, "We propose an exchange of knowledge. Your defensive capabilities combined with our technologies could create a shield of peace across this entire sector of space." Miller activated the Emergency Council channel. Within moments, Earth's leaders were witnessing the transmission. The Council President spoke carefully, "We appreciate your interest, but you must understand our caution. Every advanced fleet that has entered our system until now has attempted invasion." A wise concern, Admiral Ray nodded. "To demonstrate our peaceful intentions, we will share something with you." The Admiral pressed something on his control panel, and suddenly new data began flooding Earth sensors. Lisa gasped as she analyzed the incoming information. "Sir, they're transmitting the locations of every known hostile fleet in our sector of space. Including 3 more invasion forces that were planning to target Earth in the next month." The crystalline being sparkled, "We too have faced the Dominion and others like them. Some species refuse to accept peaceful coexistence, seeking only conquest." Miller watched as the tactical display updated with the new intelligence. The data was comprehensive, showing not just fleet locations but detailed technical specifications and battle strategies. This was exactly the kind of information that could make the Guardian Network even more effective. "We propose a joint defense initiative," Admiral Ray continued. "Earth would remain fully autonomous, but would join our network of protected worlds. Your Guardian Network would be the cornerstone of a new defensive alliance in this sector." The energy being pulsed brightly. "Even now, more hostile forces gather. The Dominion was merely one of many militant species that seek to dominate others. Together, we could ensure the safety of countless civilizations." Miller looked at the council members on his screen. For the first time in years, he saw hope replacing their usual cautious tension. This could be the breakthrough Earth had been waiting for, a chance to turn their defensive capabilities into a shield for peace rather than just a weapon of last resort. But before anyone could respond, Lisa's console lit up with urgent warnings. "Multiple hostile signatures detected. The Dominion, they're back, and they've brought reinforcements. Massive fleet emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the system." The Galactic Alliance representatives shared knowing looks. Admiral Ray smiled slightly. "Perhaps, Earth Defense Command, you would allow us to demonstrate our own peaceful intentions through actions rather than words?" Miller straightened his uniform, a new sense of possibility filling him. "I have a better idea, Admiral. Let's show them what our combined forces can do." The Dominion reinforcement fleet was massive, over 2,000 warships strong. Their vessels had been modified, clearly learning from their previous defeat. Energy shields flickered with strange patterns, and their hulls seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. "They've adapted their technology to resist our quantum charges," Lisa reported, analyzing the new data. "These aren't the same ships we faced before." Miller nodded to the Alliance representatives still on screen. "Admiral Ray, I accept your offer of cooperation. How quickly can we integrate our defense systems? The crystalline being pulsed with bright light, already in progress. Your Guardian Network's architecture is remarkably compatible with our systems. On the tactical display, Miller watched as the Alliance fleet's energy field began to extend toward Earth's defense grid. The Guardian Network satellites pulsed with new energy as they connected to the alien technology. Lisa's console displayed streams of data as the two systems synchronized. Dominion fleet is launching their first wave, James announced. Multiple target vectors, they're trying to overwhelm us with simultaneous attacks. Admiral Ray's voice was calm. Watch and learn, Captain Miller. Let us show you what true defensive cooperation looks like. The Alliance fleet shifted formation. Their 1,000 ships arranged themselves into complex geometric patterns, creating a massive three-dimensional web of energy. The Guardian Network satellites automatically adjusted their positions to mirror this formation, creating a double-layered defense grid. The Dominion's attack hit like a tidal wave. Millions of missiles, energy beams, and exotic weapons fire-filled space. But instead of trying to stop or redirect the attacks, the combined defense grid did something unprecedented. Amazing, Lisa breathed, watching her sensors. The Alliance ships are using our dimensional technology, but they're amplifying it somehow. Each piece of Dominion weaponry that struck the defense grid didn't just disappear into pocket dimensions, it was captured, enhanced, and redirected. The Alliance's energy web transformed each attack into pure power, feeding it back into the defensive systems. Miller watched in awe as the Dominion's massive barrage was absorbed completely. Not a single shot made it through. But what happened next was even more impressive. The crystalline being's voice chimed like bells. Now, let us show you how to truly end a conflict. The combined defense grid began to pulse with collected energy. Thousands of microportals opened, similar to Earth's previous tactic, but these were different. Instead of delivering destructive charges, they released waves of transformative energy. What's happening to their ships? Miller asked, watching the Dominion fleet on his display. The energy being pulsed as it explained, we are not destroying them. We are giving them a choice. Throughout the Dominion fleet, ships began to power down. Their weapon systems shut off, shields failed, and propulsion systems went dark. But the ships themselves remained intact, with all their crews alive and unharmed. Admiral Ray smiled. The energy web doesn't just defend, it can temporarily neutralize any aggressive technology. Their ships will remain powered down for the next 24 hours, leaving only life support and communication systems active. The aquatic being's voice rippled. Now, they must choose. They can retreat when their ships reactivate, or they can remain and face complete technological shutdown again. Most choose to retreat. On the main screen, the Dominion commander appeared again, but this time its arrogance was replaced with disbelief. How? What have you done to our ships? We've given you the same choice we give all aggressors, Miller replied, feeling a new confidence. You can leave in peace, or you can keep testing our combined defenses. The choice is yours, but I suggest you choose wisely. The Dominion commander looked from Miller to the Alliance representatives, finally understanding the new reality it faced. Without another word, the transmission cut off. Lisa smiled at her console. Sir, I'm detecting movement in the Dominion fleet. They're beginning to drift away from Earth space, using minimal emergency thrusters. I think they're actually retreating. Miller turned to Admiral Ray. I believe we have a lot to discuss about this new alliance. Indeed, the Admiral replied. But first, there's something else you should know. The Dominion wasn't the largest threat heading toward Earth. Something far worse is coming. As the Dominion fleet retreated into deep space, the mood in Earth Defense Station Alpha shifted from triumph to concern. Captain Miller studied the grave expressions on the faces of the Alliance representatives. Tell me about this greater threat, Miller said, his voice firm. What could be worse than a 2,000-ship Dominion assault fleet? The crystalline being dimmed slightly as it spoke. They are called the Void Collective. They don't seek to conquer or rule, they consume entire civilizations. Admiral Ray pulled up a holographic display, showing a massive dark cloud moving through space. This is footage from the Centauri sector 3 months ago. Watch carefully. The command center crew watched in horror as the dark cloud approached a heavily defended planet. The planet's surface gleamed with advanced technology, protected by defense systems that made Earth's Guardian network look primitive. But when the cloud reached the planet, everything changed. Life signs dropping to zero, Lisa whispered, reading the data from the recording. All technology just stopping. The whole planet's being reduced to basic elements. The energy being pulsed dimly. The Void Collective exists partly in our dimension and partly in others. They break down all complex matter, organic and technological, into base components, absorbing the energy released in the process. They've already consumed 17 civilizations in the past year. And they're heading toward Earth? Miller asked, though he already knew the answer. The aquatic being's voice was solemn. Your solar system is their next target. We estimate 3 weeks until they arrive. This is why we came to Earth now. Your Guardian Network's dimensional technology, combined with our energy manipulation abilities, might be our only chance to stop them. Miller turned to his crew. Lisa, give me a full analysis of that footage. James, start running simulations using our combined defensive capabilities. I want options. As his crew worked, Miller addressed the Alliance representatives. What defenses have been tried against them? Everything, Admiral Ray replied. Physical weapons pass right through them. Energy weapons are absorbed. Traditional shields can't block their dimensional phasing. The last civilization tried to evacuate, but the Collective's cloud moves faster than our fastest ships. The crystalline being brightened suddenly. But your quantum charges, the ones you used against the Dominion initially, they interact with matter on a fundamental level. Combined with our energy web technology, we might be able to force them fully into our dimension, Miller finished, seeing the possibility. Make them fight on our terms. Lisa looked up from her analysis. Sir, I think it could work. If we modify the Guardian network to generate quantum fields instead of charges, and the Alliance fleet amplifies those fields through their energy web. We'd need more power than Earth and our fleet combined could generate, the energy being pulsed. Not necessarily, James interrupted, looking up from his simulations. The dimensional barrier technology we use, it doesn't just redirect energy into empty space. It stores it temporarily. If we could collect enough energy beforehand. Miller straightened up. How much energy would we need? Everything, Lisa replied. We'd need to capture the energy from every attack the Void Collective makes in their first wave. Store it, amplify it through the Alliance's web, and redirect it all at once through our quantum fields. A single mistake in the timing. Admiral Ray began. Would mean the end of Earth, and soon after, this entire sector of space, Miller finished. But it's better than waiting to be consumed. The Alliance representatives shared looks among themselves. The crystalline being chimed, we would need to begin preparations immediately. The modifications to your Guardian network alone will take days. And we'll need to gather more ships, the aquatic being added. Every Alliance vessel we can spare. The energy web must be perfect. Miller nodded, his decision made. He opened a channel to Earth's Council. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to act fast. I'm declaring a level Omega situation. We need every power source, every satellite, every ship we have. And we need them now. As the council members began issuing orders, Admiral Ray spoke softly, Captain Miller, there's one more thing you should know about the Void Collective. No civilization has ever survived their first attack. Ever. Miller allowed himself a grim smile. Then I guess it's time someone did. The next 2 weeks transformed Earth's solar system into the largest defensive installation ever created. Alliance ships arrived by the hundreds each day, taking up precise positions in an enormous web that stretched from Earth's orbit all the way to Jupiter. The Guardian Network satellites were modified and multiplied, their quantum field generators upgraded with Alliance technology. Captain Miller stood at his usual spot in the command center, but the view was now very different. Earth below was darker than usual, every major power station had been connected to the defensive grid, ready to channel energy when needed. The normally peaceful space around the planet bristled with technology. Final ship count, Lisa reported, her voice tired after days of coordinating fleet positions. 3,742 Alliance vessels in formation. Every ship from 17 different civilizations, all linked to our Guardian network. James looked up from his station. Power grid is holding steady at 98% capacity. All quantum field generators are synchronized. Energy web is stable. The crystalline being's voice chimed through the command center. Our long-range sensors have detected the Void Collective. They're accelerating. New estimated arrival, 6 hours. Miller nodded, checking the final preparations. The plan was ambitious, perhaps impossible. The combined fleet would create the largest energy web ever attempted, using the Alliance ships as nodes and the Guardian network as a framework. When the Void Collective attacked, every bit of energy they released would be captured and stored in millions of microdimensional pockets throughout the web. "Show me the collective," Miller ordered. The main screen displayed a massive dark cloud moving through space, consuming everything in its path. Asteroids, space debris, even light itself seemed to vanish into its depths. It was like watching a piece of reality being erased. Admiral Ray's voice was grim. The cloud is 3 times larger than the one that attacked the Centauri sector. They're learning, adapting. Growing stronger with each civilization they consume. The energy being pulsed with concern, we've detected unusual patterns in their approach. They may have encountered dimensional technology before. They might be prepared for our strategy. Then we'll need to surprise them, Miller said. He opened a channel to all ships. This is Captain Miller. In 6 hours, we face an enemy that has never been defeated. They expect us to run, to hide, to fail like all others before us. But they don't understand what they're facing. He paused, looking at the united fleet on his display. Humanity survived and thrived because we learned to stand together. Now we stand with new allies, facing a threat to all life. We have one shot at this. One chance to prove that life, in all its forms, will not be consumed by the void. Every ship, every crew member, every watt of power matters. Stand ready. The next 5 hours were filled with final checks and adjustments. The energy web was tested and retested. Emergency protocols were reviewed. Backup plans were confirmed. Then, 1 hour before projected contact, Lisa's console lit up with warnings. "Sir. The collective, they're accelerating far beyond predicted speeds. Impact in 7 minutes." The command center burst into action. Miller's voice cut through the chaos. "All ships, battle positions. Begin power-up sequence now." The massive defense web hummed to life. Ships and satellites glowed with contained energy as the quantum fields activated. On the main screen, the dark cloud of the Void Collective rushed toward them, larger than anything in human experience. "They're scanning us," the crystalline being reported. "Reading massive energy fluctuations in their cloud formation." Admiral Ray's voice was tense. "They're not slowing down. Energy readings are off the charts." "Steady," Miller commanded. "Let them come. Everything depends on the first exchange." Lisa, Status of the energy storage systems? Ready, sir. All dimensional pockets are primed and synchronized. The Void Collective's cloud began to change shape, forming into something that looked almost like a massive hand reaching for Earth. The space around it warped and twisted unnaturally. 30 seconds to contact, James announced. Miller took a deep breath. Send the signal to all ships. On my mark, we show them what united civilizations can really do. The dark cloud loomed closer, filling every screen and viewport. This was it, the moment that would decide the fate of not just Earth, but countless worlds to come. 10 seconds, Lisa whispered. The Void Collective struck with unimaginable force. The dark cloud crashed against the energy web like a tsunami of pure destruction. Everywhere it touched, reality itself seemed to warp and tear. Ships creaked under the strain, their hulls glowing as they channeled unprecedented amounts of energy. Energy absorption at 70% capacity. Lisa shouted over the sound of straining systems. 80. 90. Miller watched as the dimensional pockets throughout the defense web filled with captured energy. The Alliance ships held their positions perfectly, their combined technology working in harmony with the Guardian network. But the Void Collective was stronger than anyone had anticipated. Hull breaches reported on outer defense line. James called out. We're losing ships. The crystalline being's voice crackled with strain. The quantum fields are holding, but we're losing coherence in sections 4 through 7. Reroute power from the secondary grid. Miller ordered. We need to hold just a little longer. Admiral Ray's ship shuddered visibly on the screen. Captain Miller, we're reading a power buildup in the cloud. They're preparing something big. The Void Collective's cloud suddenly contracted, pulling back like a coiling spring. In that moment, Miller saw their chance. They're gathering for a final strike. This is it. All ships, prepare for pattern Omega. The energy being pulsed urgently. If we miss this timing, the backlash will destroy us all. Energy storage at maximum capacity. Lisa reported. We can't absorb any more. Miller's voice cut through the chaos. On my mark, every ship releases their stored energy through the quantum fields. The millisecond the collective attacks, we hit them with everything. The dark cloud finished contracting, now a sphere of pure darkness that bent light around it. The very fabric of space trembled as it gathered its power. Now! Miller roared. 3,742 ships, plus Earth's entire Guardian network, acted as one. Every joule of stored energy, every quantum field, every bit of power that had been absorbed from the collective's initial attack was released in a single, perfectly synchronized burst. The result was beyond spectacular. A wave of pure white energy erupted from the defense web, meeting the Void Collective's attack head-on. Where the two forces met, space itself seemed to crystallize. The collective's dark cloud was caught in a web of quantum fields, forced fully into normal space for the first time in its existence. It's working, the aquatic being exclaimed. Their dimensional phasing is failing. The collective tried to retreat, to slip back into its safer semi-dimensional state, but the quantum fields held it in place. The energy web contracted, focusing all its power on the trapped entity. Full power to the quantum fields. Miller commanded. Don't let them escape. Every ship, every satellite, every power source on Earth poured its energy into the effort. The Void Collective's dark cloud began to break apart, its structure unable to maintain cohesion in normal space. We're detecting some kind of reaction in their core. Lisa shouted. Energy readings are off the scale. The crystalline being chimed in triumph, their own consumption process is turning against them. They're breaking down at the fundamental level. In a final, desperate attempt, the collective tried to launch its remaining energy at Earth. But the defense web caught it, channeled it, and turned it back upon itself. The dark cloud collapsed inward, trapped in a cascade of its own destructive power. Then, in a flash that briefly outshone the sun, the Void Collective disappeared. Where the unstoppable force had been, only normal, empty space remained. Lisa's hands shook as she checked her readings. No trace of the collective, sir. They're just gone. Completely destroyed. A cheer went up through the command center, echoed across thousands of ships throughout the solar system. Humanity and its allies had done the impossible, they had defeated the undefeatable. Admiral Ray's tired but happy face appeared on the main screen. Well done, Captain Miller. Earth has proven itself yet again. Miller looked out at the victorious fleet, then back at his home planet shining blue and peaceful below. No, Admiral. We proved what we can all do together. This victory belongs to every civilization that stood with us today. The crystalline being chimed softly, and with this victory, a new age begins. The age of the United Systems, with Earth and the Guardian Network at its heart. Miller smiled. From a civilization that once feared alien contact, to the cornerstone of a galactic alliance, humanity had come a long way. And this was just the beginning.